we are taking example from another website. This is the website. Uh, and here you can perform this example. You can drag any of this photo and put it here. So the code basically is same thing. We will open the website, this one. Then basically that particular element was under one iframe. So this is a bigger iframe. So if I inspect this, I'm able to see that the whole this photo manager and all other options are under one iframe. This one, see here, iframe class is equal to something that's written here. Let me maximize it so that it will be clear about the code. See here, iframe. So this whole thing is are under iframe. So what we have to do, we have to switch to the iframe first, because iframe is also a kind of smaller website. This content is not part of this website directly. It is also coming from some, maybe the other website, maybe the content which they have kept somewhere as data source here, right? So what we are doing, we are identifying the element first, that iframe first, by this iframe where data src contains photo manager. So this is the way to write CSS selector for that. And then we are switching to that iframe. Then we are waiting for 4 seconds. Then we are identifying where is our form element. So this is our element which we want to select, right? So we want to select, let me show you. So for example, let's say if I want to select the first image, so it's under li where it contains UI draggable, and let's say this first image, right? So this I want to drag, and I want to drag it to this part. So let's identify this trash part. So this trash part has ID is equals to trash. So once you identify source and destination both, you just have to say, okay, from which element, and this is my source destination element. And then you have to write actions object. You have to pass the driver, and you have to say drag and drop. This is from element to element, and build dot perform. And don't forget to write at the end, uh, let me do this first, driver dot switch to default content. So that you will switch to the main content of your website. So what is the main content? Like this is under iframe. So maybe this is not under iframe. This home, cheat sheet, other things. Those are not part of this iframe. So you have to come out of the iframe. So the code is driver dot switch to dot default content. So this covers, iframe part also, which we wanted to cover. That's a good thing. But what is nested iframe then? Let's see that part. So I believe again here nested iframe thing will be there. Let me search frame first, or iframe. iframe. I okay. Inside the frame, maybe it's there. So nested iframe is um, iframe inside the iframe. That's it. So yeah, we have example of that. So nested frames. So these are different. This is simple frame part. Nested iframe is different. Nested iframe means where you have iframe inside the iframe. So the code will be same. I can explain you the syntax. So what is how you work with the iframe? It's like you have to identify the frame first. Identify the iframe. There are different ways. Either you identify by its name, ID, index, or best way I think is identified as an element, as an element. So when you say identified as an element, it's driver dot find element, then you can combine those attributes and all, correct? So same thing what we did in this code is finding the finding the frame by CSS selected. That's fine, but I have identified it through where the tag is iframe and the data source contains footer manager. So you can have any attribute. You just have to identify the iframe uniquely. It's like this. So once you identify this, you just have to write driver dot switch. I think switch to it again dot frame and then provide this element. So frame element which you have identified that you have to put here. It's like this. Right? For the nested, just one more step. So identify the iframe. This thing is done. You have to do it twice. So identify the parent iframe, I will say, right? And then again, same thing. Then you identify the child iframe. So that's like nested iframe. Then switch to that iframe. Done. That's it. So this is nested iframe. Okay. Switch to window. Um, that part is done, I think. I can show you. So it's better if you guys will go through this playlist. There we have mentioned, small code snippet to do different things. So checkbox, scroll options, finding the element in different ways, drop down, the whole TestNG, framework and the annotation. Um, in detail, we have mentioned the data providers and GitHub, Maven project, how you run the Maven project, um, page object model. So recently, I have added these things about the page factory, utility functions, then adding the cucumber also here. So check these things. Um, so that you will write the code in a systematic way. What is the next thing we want to do? So frame is done, drag and drop is done. Switch to window, as I said that somewhere in the playlist you will find it. Mouse action is, let's see, hover, double click, those things, how to do that, right? Again, syntax part only you have to find out. See, whenever you are working with Selenium, you if you know the concept, you will be able to do it. It's very simple. So just search for mouse action, hover, double click, Selenium Java. Somebody, if they have provided the code, understand it from different blogs, then you'll be able to do it. So browser stack also has provided it. Selenium itself has, good documented code there. So it's simple. Again, action class, you can say move to element. So this is hover, right? So for example, see, I can hover over this, right? So this is hover, correct? So that code you can use. Let's try this quickly. Let's try this. Let's create a new class here. Class mouse action. Demo. Okay. And the code is simple. We want to open Firefox Fiverr first. Okay. Then we want to open this website. Let's say the same website, because here we are getting a good example of hovering over it, correct? I'm using the same thing. Fiverr.get, and we'll open this website. And then let's wait for 4 seconds. Then let's go back here and find out this developers element, right? So let's copy this code first. What we want to perform is basically finding the element, right? One element. And then there is actions class, which you have to import. Instead of driver, I have written dr actually. So I'm correcting that part. That's it. What is this element? I want to hover over this developers. So right click here. Let's inspect this. And yeah, this is a button. This is a button which contains developers, right? Or the ID is also there, developers hyphen DD toggle. So why not use this ID? That is also fine. So I can say driver uh, by.xpath where there is a button where at the rate ID is equals to this. Yeah. So we can identify it by XPath. We can say by dot XPath like this. Yeah. And then okay, okay, okay. Yeah. Fine. And then I want to say actions is equals to action, move to element. So this will just hover over it. It will not click on it. It will simply, mouse will be there. It will not be visible that your mouse is uh, moving or something. No, no, it's not like that. It's like virtually your mouse is there. It's like this. See here, it has gone. I have not done anything. So it has gone to developers through the automated code. Great. And after the hover, if you want to click on something, that is also fine. You can do it, hover, and then identify this element and click it. That's fine. So there is no extra code you have to write. You have to identify any of these elements and then click on it. So I'm not going to write code for that. Hover is important. Now let's see the double click part. So I'm finding, is there any example for the double? Because I want to find out the example where when you double click, what will happen, right? So double mouse. So there are mouse action or keyboard action should be there, but it's fine. Uh, Double click. Sometimes, things works when you do double click only. Correct. So that's what I'm finding here. Is there any examples related to having double click part? Okay, let's search in Google. Double click demo website. Okay, okay, okay. They that's the same website has it, but I want to see a demo website which will allow us to do the double click. But let's see the simple code first. Code is simple. Code is simply having the same actions and saying dot double click over an element. That's it. There is nothing new there. So there are a lot of things you can do, right click, you can do double click and all. It's simple code. The code is this. So context click is there, which will actually uh, click on that element or the right click on that, but there is double click also. The double click itself is a function. So don't worry about it. Yeah, this website is there. Demo QA has this kind of example, I think, with the buttons. So let's see that website first. Yeah, double click. So when we double click here, something is happening. I don't know what is happening, but yeah, you have done a double click. It's showing the message. When I right click here, it's saying you have done a right click. If I click here, it's showing you have done a dynamic click. Let's refresh this again. So no message is there as of now. If you see, there is no message. When I simply click here, there is no message. But when I do double click, it's showing a message. When I simply click here, there is no message. But when I do right click, there is no message. So when I do simple click here, there is a message. So that's fine. Something is happening with this. So let's automate this.